Let's cut to the chase. The Dodgers ruined baseball, or did baseball ruin baseball? It's another edition of Southwest Bias.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Of course, brought to you by Branded Bills. Elevate your brand like I am right now with Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. It's a round table to talk about how much we hate the Dodgers. I'm Erik. That's Damon. That's Bo. PHNX Cardinals, PHNX Wildcats, PHNX Diamondbacks. Just so much going on right here at the table. Gentlemen, our beautiful sport, America's pastime, is dying right in front of our eyes, and it feels like there's nothing we can do about it, Bo.
Yeah, I mean, there's something you could do about it.
Take the streets.
Right. There should
Riot.
be something that Rob Manfred should do about it. But look, at the end of the day, I'll embrace it for the time being. Like the Los Angeles Dodgers have created the largest target on their back probably in Major League Baseball history. And I grew up through the Yankee dynasties and all the spending that the Yankees did post, late 90s, early 2000s when they were winning those World Series. But once they started throwing money at their problems, it didn't really turn out to be successful. They won in 2009, but outside of that, they were failures. And also the thing that I like is that the Dodgers have created a zero-sum game for themselves. They either win the World Series or they are a failure across the league. And that's not even debatable. And with the Arizona Diamondbacks being probably the second best team in their division, when they square up with the Dodgers, whether it's in the regular season or the postseason, it's going to be the Diamondbacks fans, all of America, versus the Dodgers fans, which I'll also embrace as well.
America's team.
That's right.
The Diamondbacks.
I love that.
Damon, I know you have no opinions on the Los Angeles Dodgers.
No, I don't. I actually have made a lot of new friends on our last PHNX D-back show on Wednesday. You guys should go check that out. Me and Dodgers fans, I think it was a good kumbaya of sorts between us and
reaching across party lines.
Yes,
and coming
of course,
together
absolutely.
For unity.
Lots of love. But actually, Dodgers fans, the worst people on earth. I mean, they just I guess my issue with them, and I was going back and forth with them in the comments on the show, is I just want Dodgers fans to put their hand up and say for 1 second, hey, this is kind of a messed up system that's going on right now. I don't expect them not to celebrate. I don't expect them to not be happy that their team won a World Series or is signing all the best free agents every offseason on top of each other. In the last 4 off seasons they've done that. What I expect is them to just say, yeah, it's not a fair system, and then we can move on and work on trying to get baseball to fix said system rather than, pointing at Dodgers fans like you guys are the worst. But I think that you do become the worst when you start being like, no, actually everyone else is the problem. And it's just not, that's not how I feel.
Well, it's self-awareness is key here, because it's not just like the Dodgers, they're just spending a little bit more money than everybody else. They're just, they're stockpiling talent. I mean, we see that with leagues and teams that have salary caps and have these restrictions and stuff where the rich get richer and the stars join the stars. Like, that's sports, and it happening in LA is not a surprise at all. But to the degree that it is happening in LA, it's not sustainable. Even if there is a target, even if you can't say, you know what, everybody and their mother can root against the Dodgers if they're not from LA for the entire season. If they do go on and dominate, or if they lose and they continue to throw their money in, it's like all these stars are ending up on one team. Like, something has to change, because that's not good for the league. Like, you need to spread that out. Like, you need to have A, healthy competition, but B, if all your star power is on one team, it's going to start eating each other up. And the MLB already has a marketing problem, already has a problem with a lot of these other things. There needs to be some sort of tangible change of roster construction, salary cap, whatever it is. I'm not the one who needs to decide that. I'm just a fan who's sitting back going, why the hell are we in this place where we're talking about this at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that. That's something, maybe a longer shot than what I'm rooting for, and that's just complete utter collapse. I want to see them throw all this money at every player, and it's become a parody of itself. It's like, and the Dodgers will sign him, and they actually do. Oh, Tanner Scott, the Dodgers should sign him, or Kirby Yates, the Dodgers will sign him. What happened the last couple days? They signed both of those players on top of signing Sasaki, and then before that, throwing all this money at all the free agents, just like they did last season. But what I'm looking for is, the rebellion to fly into the Death Star and find that one little vulnerability from them and shoot down the bad, hated Dodgers. But you're right. There is a lack of self-awareness from Dodger Nation. They don't understand that they're in their villain area, and they are. They absolutely are. You have to understand that. If we get one victory from this, they have to realize, like Damon is saying, is like, if you're going to embrace this, you also have to realize nobody likes you while you're doing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's entirely the truth. And I guess my problem with you and your Death Star comparison there is that, like, they had that last year. Yeah. Their entire pitching staff was hurt. Everybody in their rotation was hurt. Yeah. Now they have 5 potential all-stars in their rotation. They have 3 or 4 potential MVPs in their starting lineup. Like, this is they are playing on an entirely different field than the rest of baseball, essentially. And it's just, I mean, it sucks as a fan of a team in that division. And, the big thing in baseball is, well, didn't you guys make the World Series in 2023? Like, there's a wild card. The wild card exists. Yeah, but the best avenue to making the playoffs is essentially off the table before pitchers and catchers report. And that's a massive problem that baseball needs to look into and fix, because, like, just trying to, like, pump up these big market teams, I don't think that that's a sustainable way to run your league. I think people lose interest in that. And that's why a league like the NFL is so popular. And people come at me all the time when I make this point, and they say, well, the Chiefs are about to win their Patrick Mahomes is going to win his 4th Super Bowl in 6 years or whatever it is. Yeah. But I think it's ludicrous, because the Chiefs got the best coach in football and they drafted the best quarterback in football. They are in Kansas City, Missouri. Mm-hmm. They are one of the smallest market teams in the league, and they have made a sustainable dynasty of sorts because they did it the right way. They made the right moves. And the Dodgers, it's not like they're not. I could make the right moves if I was running the Dodgers. How much money do you want, man? Cool, we'll pay it to you.
But not right now.
Yeah.
We'll pay it. And that's part of the problem, too. Sure. It's like, if you're going to pony up and you're going to pay all this, like, it's so stupid that the MLB just basically allows a loophole where you'd be like, hey, we'll give you 50 cents every single day. And then when you're 50, we're going to give you $2 billion. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, let's not discount, the rules of the referees as far as the Chiefs' success lately. But I mean, that factors in. Look, it's tough. It is tough in a cap league to find consistent, sustainable success when there's no cap with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and it was funny to watch them throw all this money at it and them not turn it into World Series, but it has, twice now.
Once.
You don't want to discount
only one counts,
the COVID season. Okay, that's fine. But
a third of a baseball season played in a neutral venue. Sorry, it's not for me.
All right, then we'll just call it once. But they are in a really good position to come back and win another one this season. But there is a chance, I think, for the Arizona Diamondbacks, just because of how baseball is set up. I mean, we can certainly get into, like, their path to overcoming this unbelievable, just whatever we want to call it, just injustice as far as how the Dodgers have been built.
Yeah, and if we want to talk about that, we can in a little bit later, because the Diamondbacks have been leaning more into spending more money. They are one of these, I guess, smaller markets. Phoenix is very weird as how it kind of teeters small, big market, depending on what team, one sport, whatever. Yeah. But they've been leaning in and spending more money and kind of gathering arms. And as a concept, like, I'm pro team spending money. Hell, I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, man. We are 10 feet underwater because what are we doing? We're throwing money out at everybody.
But the ability to improve has been handicapped.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is, like, I'm sitting here now where if the Suns were the best team in the NBA, we'd absolutely be the villains. Because everybody would be pointing out we have the highest payroll. But there are mechanisms in place. I'm not a fan of them right now, but there are mechanisms in place to even it out and to make it difficult, or at least not entice you to go down this lane the Dodgers are going down. But I think what even separates that is, like, yeah, sure, the Diamondbacks can spend money and they can go down that path. A lot of teams can, but almost nobody except for maybe the New York Yankees,
the Mets,
because Cohen can just throw this amount of money at people with no regard at all, and it's all deferred too. Like, it's just if you're gonna have a non-salary cap sport, it's pretty tough to have that with teams who have such a difference in budget as well. Like, there is no even playing field.
Not at all. And, baseball kind of, as we talked about, kind of counteracts, like you said. The Diamondbacks do have a path. It's not like the season is completely over. But that being said, like, and as I mentioned, that avenue is taken pretty much off the table already. You look at the Dodgers' deferred money; it's somewhere around the $1 billion range. I see a lot of why don't every other owner do this? Mm-hmm. Ken Kendrick, for example, and Ken Kendrick has been spending top 5 total money the last 2 off seasons across MLB on free agency. So it's not as if Ken Kendrick is not trying. The Diamondbacks, I believe, are the 26th franchise value. So top 5 money is well above their means. Mm-hmm. And Ken Kendrick has a $1.1 billion net worth. So in what world would it be realistic for him to lay away $1 billion when not what's liquid, his net worth is $1.1 billion? It's completely unrealistic for 99% of the teams in the league, 95% of the teams in the league. It's just not sustainable if other teams wanted to do what the Dodgers are doing. And in part, the Dodgers are so good at business, right? They have a massive television contract. It's over $300 million a year, and they get to use that. But that's also part of the issue.
Yeah, and good for them. They can add that. But it's the same thing. And you mentioned with the fans where somebody who comes from a rich family is like, yeah, my parents helped me out. I'm going to pay them back later, right? Mm-hmm. Like they bought me a car, they bought me a house, and I'm still going to go. I'm going to earn it, right? Like the Dodgers still have to go out and play baseball. They still have to go out there and be the best team and go out and win a World Series, right? But you're getting an advantage. Like you're starting the race halfway done.
Oh, yeah. Like the margin for error is in the negative for the rest of the NL West going up against the Dodgers. Yeah. I mean, usually it's slim, but now it's in the negative with just what the embarrassment of riches on top of the embarrassment of riches that they added this offseason. Like we look back at people crying foul when KD joined the Warriors, but that was a testament to the drafting and developing that they did with Klay Thompson, with Steph Curry, and the roster building they did there. And
Absolutely.
They had that little ace up their sleeve to sign a player the caliber of KD. But, people would cry and bitch and moan. But then when they got down to it, it's just like, well, it's within the rules. And it's not the Wild West. It's not just controlled chaos like it is in Major League Baseball.
Well, there has to be a path, right? There always has to be a way. What is it? We're going to unpack that, continue to talk about the Dodgers on Southwest Bias. But of course, I got to let people know that if you're trying to revamp your flooring, if you're trying to spruce up your home, your business, whatever it might be, Empire Today is absolutely unequivocally the number one place for you to do that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and look you in the eye and tell you that, hey, they're going to give you just the cheapest, lowest price on everything, because they won't promise that. Why? They don't want to put the cheapest, worst flooring in your home that you're going to have to replace in a year anyway because it's not high quality. They want to make sure that it's done right with good quality materials, the right way, and done in an efficient way that you can hold up your virtual floor visualizer that you could download on your phone and see what matches with my house, my appliances, my color scheme, my decorations, right? You can get a free in-home estimate same day. You can come to your house, say, you know what? This is exactly what the process is going to look like. This is the price, and we're going to help take care of it for you. And all listeners to Southwest Bias can receive a $350 off discount, and I don't like this promo code, unfortunately. It's promo code DNVR. However, restrictions do apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX. That's better for details. And of course, this episode of Southwest Bias is brought to you by our friends over at Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel. It's like a pillow hugging your head. It is such a soft, comfortable hat, and they got snapbacks, truckers, fitted beanies, and tees as well. Plus, let's say you have a fantasy football league that you've been doing for the last decade plus, and you have a logo for your fantasy football league. Well, you want everybody to get custom gear and apparel for your fantasy football league? You could do that with Branded Bills. What if you just started a business? What if you have a successful small or large business and you want to improve team morale? Branded Bills is absolutely here to help you stand out from the crowd. They also have partnerships with ASU, woohoo, U of A, boo. As a part of their campus collection, local company out of Mesa, Arizona, head to brandedbills.com. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. So before we talk about how somebody can beat the Dodgers, do we agree that I would say it's not the Dodgers' fault that this is allowed?
No.
So what does Rob Manfred do to change this? How does the MLB go out and say, you know what, enough is enough, let's put an end to this, no more Dodger ball?
When you look at just the different pathways that they have taken advantage of, especially most recently with the signing of Sasaki and using it as what Shohei Ohtani has opened up as a kind of a pipeline to the Dodgers. Like as far as like international signing money and all that stuff, I think you got to figure out ways to benefit the not just smaller market clubs, but be able to them get those when the Dodgers are going out there and throwing the most money at the free agents. So if the Dodgers are going to have the free agents, then you're going to have access to the international players and the draft, the prospects. So yeah, I mean, I think that is a good start. It's not the only thing. Like Jeff Passan, and I disagree with this, saying that the Dodgers are just a symptom, they're not the disease. But like if the symptom is lung cancer, the Dodgers are chain smoking. Like if it's your liver's going down and then they're binge drinking, like they're doing the worst part and they're not taking care of what should be happening throughout the league. They're just not taking advantage, but they're just fueling the disease.
I like Jeff Passan. I like a lot of these baseball writers that have been carrying water for the Dodgers over the course of this. No, they have though. That is exactly what they've been doing. This is not the Dodgers' fault. And like, agree. You mentioned it. I don't think it is the Dodgers' fault. They're trying to build the best roster that they can. All power and glory to them. But as Bo mentions, I think maybe an international draft is something that they could potentially work into the mix because frankly, international players are going to sign with the big brands every day of the week. They're going to sign with the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets maybe even. Yeah. But that's what the international players, that's the teams that they dream of going to. So when the money is semi-equal because they're all capped out at a certain margin, Roki Sasaki is going to pick the Dodgers every day of the week. So I think an international draft is something you have to look into. I think capping deferrals is absolutely number one priority. Like the fact that you can defer $680 of $700 million on a contract is out of this world. Makes no sense. Like what kind of sport are we running type of situation? But I think that there are avenues to fixing it, a salary cap and a floor to even go further. And I always mention the floor part because it's important. Like, I don't think that the problem is just the Dodgers. The problem is also the A's and the White Sox and the Marlins and the teams that never want to spend a dime, right? The Pirates. Yeah. Like, so I think the problem is on both ways. There's no middle class in baseball. There's a lower class and an upper class. And you need to find a way to make it where they're all playing on an equal playing field.
And that's the long-term solution. I'm sure we'll have to unpack that as time goes on. I'm all for salary cap and salary floor.
I'm voting for Damon, Dawg.
Dude, are you kidding me?
I'd be a way better commissioner than Rob Manfred. It's not even a question.
I would be front row.
It is.
What's the solution for this season, though? How do this season, whether it's the Diamondbacks or somebody else, how do they pull off a David versus Goliath? Who has the slingshot?
It's tough. It's really tough, of course, in a best of 7 game series against the Dodgers. That's what makes it, as Damon's pointing out, they've got 5 frontline starters. But I think that the Diamondbacks, at the very least, as far as games 1 and game 2, they have guys that can go out there and they can shove. They've got Corbin Burnes. They've got an absolute guy, ace, who can go out there and compete, go 7, 8 strong innings against the Dodgers. And what's the old adage in Major League Baseball or in baseball? Like, you're only as good as your next day starting pitcher. And I think that the Diamondbacks possess that. At least, like, you can say they're solid through their first 3 starters, and then, like, you got to figure it out after that. So, like, that can give you an edge to start a series. I mean, it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying, like, Corbin Burnes, you just start him and you can just Sharpie in the win that day. But he gives you a chance. So does Zach Gallen. I think so does Merrill Kelly.
Yeah, players that get up, I think, for big games too. Like we saw it with Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. Every time it felt like you needed a big start out of them, especially in that 2023 season, they gave it to you. And those Dodgers games are going to feel like World Series games every time that you play them. I looked into it because as we were talking about, like the avenue being closed of the division, almost certainly. I mean, the Dodgers have won 11 of 12 division titles in the NL West. The one year that they didn't win, they lost by 1 single game. The Dodgers won 106 games that year. The Giants won 107.
Wow.
So, I think it's pretty much off the table. Like I've been saying, that the division, I don't think the division is really up for grabs. I think that you need to make a wild card and you need to get into the playoffs in 3-game series and have your pitchers just lose their mind.
The issue is not going to be, like, I think the Diamondbacks could show up and head to head, narrowly beat the Dodgers. I think that's a very real thing. But, like, the fact that it's such a marathon and that they're going to have the opportunity to beat up on the slums of MLB, like that's going to catapult them to where they're going to be able to flex their roster depth and their rotation depth, and now their bullpen depth and their lineup depth, and it's going to just work out very well for the long haul to where they'll win the division running away, even if they went head to head with the D-backs.
So you guys aren't thinking big enough. I've already fixed it.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Everybody locked in? You clone Christian Walker and you put him on every other franchise, and that way the dude just goes yard. Yeah. That's it. That's the only way to stop the Dodgers. But maybe you have a way to stop the Dodgers. Drop it down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to PHNX Sports. Turn that notifications bell on. Quite the diverse array of shows up here on Southwest Bias. Of course, you can get Damon, Dawg on PHNX Wildcats 5 days a week. And of course, being the man producing PHNX Cardinals, which, hey, I know PHNX Cardinals. That's Bo Brock, beat reporter for your Cardinals. You can follow him at Bo Brock on Twitter. You can follow Damon at Damon Dawg. That's DAWG. Also catch him on PHNX Diamondbacks once a week. And then when the season gets started, we're going to ramp that up as well. As for Lil Ol' Me, you can catch me on PHNX_Suns on social media. Follow me at ERIKRUBY. We'll be back next week. I believe we're revamping. Bringing some new stuff for Southwest Bias. Exciting times. Subscribe, turn noties on, rate us 5 stars, and we'll catch you next week.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
We all silly like the mayor.